really take to heart is this idea and this knowing that tomorrow is not guaranteed. Something could happen to all of us today. And so what are you doing today to live the life that you want? And I had a couple of stipulations I wanted. I said, I want freedom. I want the freedom to live where I want to live. I want the freedom to be able to spend my time how I want to spend my time. I don't want somebody telling me you only get X number of days off and you have to be at the office at this time. And I just didn't want that. I wanted to find something that I loved. I said, you know what? I need to have passion for what I do on a daily basis, because what if that's my last day? And I didn't want to stress about money. You know, the biggest thing from my accident was I couldn't earn an income because I had lost my physical health. And I thought, there's got to be a way that I could create something that could exist in my absence. That was my goal. And I thought, you know, I don't know how that looks, but it would be amazing if I could create that and create residual income, passive income. I also wanted to be able to work from wherever. That was a dream of mine, that I could just, you know what, I could go maybe live in Mexico for a month and I'd be able to work and enjoy life if I so chose. And there was also this deep desire within my heart and within my soul to be able to serve other people, to be able to be in a position to help those that were less fortunate, that didn't have the things that I had in life. And it was actually my mom that said, you know what, Danielle, ASEA has a very simple system that if you follow, you could achieve all of these things. And it was explained to me like this: the system is simple. Step one, connect with people in your local community or through social media, get to know them. And then step two, ask them a very simple scripted question, basically to see, hey, are you open to learning about a biotech discovery? Are you open to learning about a way to, you know, create a side income? Whatever the question might be. And then step three was basically plug them into a tool, right? To a webinar like this, to a video, to get them to expand their mind about what this opportunity was. And she also explained to me that mentorship was included. Now, I'm an athlete. I don't know if you all know this person. He's an Olympian here in the United States, Michael Phelps. He's earned so many Olympic gold medals. I grew up just down the road from him, also swimming. I used to swim in competitions where he was. And I've always had a mentor and a coach in my career as an athlete. And when she said, look, in this business, your mentorship and coaching is free. And all you need to do is believe in yourself. You'll start to belong to a community and you will become the person that can have a business like you're desiring. And so here's what I said, guys. This was 2015, all right? So in 2015, I went to a conference. I hope you all are coming. I know it's a long flight for you all, but I hope you all are coming to Texas in September, because this is where my mind expanded. I went to a conference and I heard Tyler Norton, our founder, speak. And it's like, you ever get those moments where you get goosebumps all over your body? That's what it was like for me at this event. And I thought, this is what I'm meant to do. And I came home, it was the end of 2015, and I said, you know what, I'm going to give this a year. I'm going to try really, really hard for a year and see if I can make this business work. So at the end of 2016, I had made the equivalent, like 6,000 US dollars. I don't know what that equivalent is in, you know, Malaysia or in Singapore. It was not that much money for a year. And I thought, okay, well, the business works, right? Because I've earned some income. But obviously I need to grow. Like, I need to do some things if this is actually going to provide the income that I want. And so in 2017, I went from Director 300, like that whole first year, I was Director 300. And for those of you that are new, you don't know that term, but basically it's the lowest rank. And I went from that rank to D700, bronze, silver, gold executive in 9 months. And it was one simple shift that I made. And the simple shift was I found a venue. I found a woman, this woman, her name is Jackie Davidson. She owned a gym. She was a personal trainer. She had her own gym. And I said, could I use your venue? Could I use your gym once a week in the evening to do a presentation? And she said, absolutely. She was totally open to it. And she said, come up here. Now this venue, mind you, was 45 minutes from where I lived. But it was the best thing that I could do. I couldn't have people at my house. I was living with a lot of roommates, and just it wasn't conducive to doing business. And so I every single week drove 45 minutes to that event. This was the very first event we ever had. Okay, and this woman right here, gosh, this was 2017 to now, so what's that, 6 years? 7, she still is on the product. All right, she was a nurse. So I did work that day that I'm still to this day getting paid for, but I continued to do that event, and I got into a weekly flow. I got into a weekly habit, and you see this is Jerry White. I would play videos, because back then I wasn't confident. You can even see the bottle, right? This is a different bottle of ASEA. The packaging is different. We were doing this back then, and this is circa 2017, every single week. And what happened was other people started to catch the vision, and they said, well, I want to invite people. And eventually, we had a large event. I invited Dr. Silverman, he's part of my upline. I said, can you come fly down to Florida? And he said, yes, Danielle, if you put 100 people in the room. And I went, oh my goodness. But if you give me a challenge, I'm going to go after it. And we did. I ended up with, I think, 90 in the room. And he came down. And then I got some of those team members to convention. You can see Jackie right here, right? She was the woman that let me use her venue. These were all people that were in our local community, right there in Florida. And so things started to grow. And it was really exciting. But then I hit a plateau. And I will tell you, this business goes up and down and up and down and up and down. And it's part of the ride. My evolution from gold through platinum to diamond executive, it was a journey. And I want to speak to you about this now, because this is important. It was a journey of personal growth. The only difference between the Danielle of 2017 and the Danielle today has been investment I've made in myself and my own personal growth. And it also required some pivoting, all right? Because this is, look, 2018, I kept doing the same thing. 2019, I decided, you know what? We're doing events, we're doing them consistently. I had corporate coming, I had a different upline coming. We were getting, 100 people in the room. We were doing a good, consistent job. But I wanted to move. My heart wasn't happy in Florida, and I wanted to move back to Colorado, where I had been prior to my accident, because I loved the mountains. So at the end of 2019, I said goodbye to my team. I said, I'm moving, keep things going. And we all know what happened in 2020. So I moved out to Colorado thinking, I'll just do the same thing, right? I'll do events, I'll get a venue, I'll build my business. And of course, literally the week, it was March of 2020, that I found a place to live, settled in, and that's the week that everything shut down. And when that pandemic set in, and I think when any challenge sets in life, I ask myself a simple question, and that question is, what is this challenge making possible? And I realized I needed new mentorship. I said, I don't know how to navigate what's about to come, but I need a leader. I need someone that thinks bigger than me in my life. And so I invested in a mentor. And I put this picture because this to me just is a photo of me changing, right? Because this was the personal growth, the personal evolution that had to happen. And I went, you know what? My new venue is my laptop. So this was the room that I was renting at the time. It was an itty bitty room, but I figured out, my bed, you can't see it, but the bed was right here. My dresser was right here. I mean, there was not space in this room that I was renting, but I said, you know what? I can put I'm stacked up on, books. This is what was going on. And I said, okay, here's the new venue. And I am going to get into a daily flow. So rather than a weekly flow, I said, if I'm doing online, it needs to be daily that I'm doing this. And it was pretty exciting because when we realized that, pandemic was going to be a longer thing, I went to my parents' house. My parents live in Arizona. This is actually their backyard. If you guys ever make it to the United States, go here. You could go to the Grand Canyon and then come to Sedona. It's beautiful. This is my dog. But I realized I can now actually work from anywhere, which if you remember, that was one of my dreams. And I went, this is incredible, and I said, okay, events really made a big difference. How do I do that online? Well, I started to do virtual events, and I created an online community. Some of you might be familiar with it, the ASEA VIP customer group. There's like 15,000 people. It's for all of ASEA. And I started to do meetings there, virtual events. I even brought the founder, Tyler Norton, into that community, and we started to grow online. And the next convention that we had in 2022, guys, all of these faces that you're seeing here, well, there's Jackie, you know how we met her, but the rest of these guys, were online connections. It was because of virtual connections that I met, and then they knew somebody, and they knew somebody, and those people came. So the team grew during that time, and it was such an exciting time. And it has only continued to grow. So what I want to just kind of leave you with, and then I'm here for questions, I want to give you a little bit of just mindset training. I want you to remember, in this business, your team will do literally half of what you do, okay? So think about, you're the tip of the spear. You're the leader. You can never blame up. If you find yourself blaming your upline, blaming Zinyi, blaming management at ASEA, blaming something, stop. If you find yourself blaming down, saying, well, my downline quit, this person didn't do anything, this person said they do this and they didn't. The answer to every single challenge in your business is in the mirror. It's you. You cannot blame up, you cannot blame down. All you can say is, I need to get better. I need to figure out what I have control over and what I can do, because the corporate team, your upline, your downline, they're living their life, they're doing their best. They're not responsible for you. Only you are responsible for you. So any single time and every single time that I run into a challenge in my business, I look in the mirror and I say, all right, Danielle, what are you going to do? How can we solve this? And I want to ask, what's your biggest roadblock right now? Because this is the kind of stuff we can have a conversation about, where how did I address that roadblock? Because remember, mentorship in this business comes for free. You talk to people that are down the road, that have already walked the path that you're looking to walk, because they can tell you how they overcame that obstacle. Because they had to also. The roadblock you're facing right now, you're going through because you're going to have to walk a team member through it. Have you ever had an event and nobody showed up? Has that ever happened to any of you? Because I'll tell you what, when I was doing my weekly event, it was a 45-minute drive, and there were nights where during that 45-minute drive, the 5 people that said they were going to meet me there, one by one, canceled. And I drove 45 minutes there for nobody, and 45 minutes home for nobody. And it was so emotionally, devastating, but I had to learn the lesson. Because now I've had team members that have had the same thing, and I'm like, I get it. You have to go through the motions. It makes you go, okay, how can I get better at inviting? What did I not do in my invitation to make these people know, the effort I was going in to be there for them, and anything that I could have done differently, right? So whatever roadblock you're going through, look at it as a gift, as, okay, I'm going to learn something right now. This is my lesson to take me to the next level, so then I can also serve people that go through that challenge after me. As I just said, you have to go through it first so you can show others how to walk the path. It's key. Now, the next question I have for you is, what would you do if you knew, that you knew on the soul level that you could not fail? I think so many of us are reserved. We're unsure to do things because we think, well, I might fall down, I might not know how, and we don't even allow ourselves to try. And I want to talk about the Fast Forward program. How many of you, I can't see the chat at the moment, but if you can in the chat, I'm going to pull it up actually. Put a 1 in the chat if you have a Fast Forward going right now. I just started one last night, so I'm going to put a 1 in the chat. Anybody, there's 90 something of us on here, who has a Fast Forward going right now? Nobody. All right. Okay. There we go. A couple. Okay. Put a 2 in the chat if you've done a Fast Forward before and you've started a Fast Forward before. Go ahead and put a 2 in there if you've done one, or you've accomplished one, or you've at least started one. Like, you know where the button is to click it. Okay. I'm seeing some more 1s. I'm seeing 2. To click the Start Fast Forward button. How many of you wait and say, I'm going to wait until I have my associate, until I have my customer, and once I've sponsored them, once their enrollment is through, then I'll start my Fast Forward? That, guys, is playing not to lose. That's saying, well, I don't want to miss out. It's a little bit of a lack mentality. I don't want to miss out. I don't want to start my timer so I, run out of time. I'm going to wait to start it. What if you switched this and you realized you're the force of momentum on your business? The fast forward's not going to get completed unless you aim yourself at completing the fast forward. So what if you played to win? What if you said, you know what, I'm going to start a timer on myself. I'm going to give myself 2 weeks, and I'm going to get into aggressive action every single day to go for my fast forward. What would that look like for you? All right. Think about this. Are you setting your expectations high so you're excited? Are you going, you know what? I'm going for a goal. I've got 2 weeks. There's 2 weeks. I'm going to go for a fast forward. I'm going to go after this. I'm going to get focused. I'm going to talk to people. I'm going to follow up. I'm going to get people off the fence. I'm going to help them make a decision. Right? That's a high expectation. Or are you setting your expectation low so you're not disappointed? Where you go, hang on a second. Well, it doesn't feel good to not earn the fast forward, so I'm not even going to start it because I don't have enough people to get it right now. Guys, you're not going to have enough people until you go tell yourself you're going to do it. I see a wow in the comments. Yeah. This was a lesson I got from one of my upline, Cindy Buck. I don't know if you all know her, but she really nailed me with this one day because she called me and she said, is your fast forward on? I said, no. And she said, why not? And I said, because I don't have anybody to enroll. And she said, Danielle, are you playing not to lose? And I was like, what do you mean? And she said, you need to play to win. You need to play to go start your fast forward. And I had all this internal like, well, no, because then I won't earn it. And I don't want to start it and lose and fail. And she said, you're never going to earn it if you don't go try and get it. And so I literally got off that call. I started the fast forward and I was like angry at her for making me have to start it. But I went, you know what? I can't blame. This is a great lesson. Let's see what I can do. And do you know what? Guys, I'm not kidding you. True story. In the next 2 weeks, in those 14 days, I enrolled 4 people and I earned that fast forward. It came out of the woodwork. I just started to go, okay, who could I follow up with? How could I meet some new people this week? And I got into a very targeted, aggressive action for 2 weeks because I wanted to prove I could do it. I wanted to prove that, you know what, I can play to win and I'm going to win this thing. So my challenge to you all this evening, for those of you that put the 1 in the chat, and yours has already started, get after it, know your date, know what you need to do. For those of you that have not started one, there's now 100 of us on here. Go start it. That is my challenge to you. We've got 2 weeks. Go crazy, go run, go play to win, go see what you can create. Because what's the worst thing that happens? Right? You'll be right where you are now 2 weeks from now. The best thing that happens is maybe you've got some new team members and some new customers. So it costs nothing to think big, right? It costs absolutely nothing to think big. It costs everything to think small. So I don't know if you guys, give me a high five. Put a 5 in the chat if you're up for this competition. If you're like, you know what, high five, give me a 5 if you are in. If you are in. All right, Cesar is in. I like it. Who else is in? Who's ready? Like, I'm getting off this and I'm going to start my fast forward. Pia's in. Nice. Look at this. I love the 5s coming in. Nellie's in. Beautiful. Joanne's in. Perfect. Perfect, perfect, perfect. Peter's in. Okay. I want you now to remember this. To attract attractive people, you must be attractive. And I do not mean physically, though you should, obviously dress nicely and present yourself well because you are the face of your business. But I mean, think about your online, look at these 5s coming in. Yes. There we go. I'm loving this. All right. So think about your online presence. Maybe some of you post on social media, maybe some of you don't. But if you were to go to my social media account, you're going to see a very uplifting story. You're going to see positivity. You're going to feel better having read my posts. Because I'm very intentional. I want to attract attractive people, right? I want people to go, you know what? Danielle makes me feel good. And I like to feel good and I like to be around this. And, they're also positive-minded people. So think about your presence. What are your conversations like when you're out and about? Are you gossiping? Are you talking about people? Are you talking about problems? Are you complaining? Or are you talking about your passions? Are you talking about your dreams? Are you talking about ideas? People are listening. People overhear you at the coffee shop. People overhear you at the market. People overhear you, on public transportation. How amazing would it be if you were talking about your dreams and your passions in this business and someone overheard you and said, wait a second, I'm interested in what you're talking about. That's happened to me before. They were drawn into you because you're being attractive. No one wants to be around somebody that complains and is always talking about problems. It's not attractive, all right? And then think about, how do your friends, colleagues, and clients view you? Think about that and think about the image that you're putting out there. It should be an authentic image. And if you have negative thoughts in your own mind, that's where you need to start, right? The first person you have to lead is you. I don't want you to go put a false image out there that you're some happy person if on the inside you're miserable. Figure yourself out. Figure out what's making you miserable. Figure out why your mind is chatting about negative stuff. And learn to cut it off. All right, you got to lead yourself. Once you lead yourself, then you can lead a bunch of followers. A bunch of people that haven't figured that part out yet, and they're like, wow, this is inspiring. I like to be around Maria, right? I like to be around Doreen. And then after that, you'll start to lead leaders. You'll start to lead people that look at life differently. But you cannot attract a leader in if you haven't worked on yourself. Okay, this business will be a reflection of you and your own personal development. I'm telling you, that was the difference from gold to here. It's yes, like attracts like. Exactly. All right, you have to become that leader in order to attract that leader. The leader is not going to appear in your business. You are the leader. You are the force of momentum. You are the one that is appearing in your business to create what you're wanting to create. It doesn't depend on anyone else. So think about this. In conversation, do you have the sense that you can become the most important person in that person's life? The sense that you can make this person's life better. Our founder, Tyler Norton, talks a lot about inflection points. I don't know if you've ever heard some of these talks, but this is the power of convention and why you should come. He talks about inflection points, and he says, there are moments, if you look back in your life, and all of you, I'm sure, can do this right now. There are moments, like my accident was one, that changed the course of your life. And there are also people that change the course of your life. It could be a teacher, it might be a relative, it might be a child, it might be a friend, it might be a spouse. But there is an intersection that happens, and because of that moment, everything changed. Guys, all 108 of us sitting right here, right now, can be that inflection point in somebody's life. You can be the reason that someone's financial health changes because you give them the opportunity to be part of this business. You can be the reason, like that acupuncturist was in my life, that someone's health completely changes. You have the ability to be the genie. You have the ability to grant wishes. But you have to hold yourself in that regard. You have to view yourself in that way. You have to talk to people like other people don't talk to them. You need to have conversations about people's dreams, their purpose. You have to get them thinking again. Ask them the question. If you found a magic lamp and you rubbed it and the genie popped out, what would your wish be? No one's talking like that. Maybe to kids, we talk about that. We talk about dreaming. But to adults, we don't. And I think, and my hope, is that you guys start bringing that passion, that vision, realizing you can be the inflection point and wake up every single day with the enthusiasm of, who am I going to meet today? Whose life am I going to intersect with today that I can potentially change the direction? And come to every conversation with that knowing and with that expectation. Saying, this conversation, I have the ability to change this person's life, and take it that seriously. It is the only way for it to actually create, right? You have to begin with the end in mind, and you have to bring that into the now. There's no future, it's just now. Be the inflection point, exactly right. So that is what I wanted to share with you all today. That is what I came here to say and to speak with you about, and I would absolutely love to answer any questions you might have. I'm gonna spotlight myself because there's a lot of us on here. I'd love to answer any questions. I don't know if there were some in the chat because I had the chat going with other things. So if there's any questions, anything you're wondering, anything you'd like to know, I'm going to try and scroll back. Someone asked, when you said you did it online, what needs to caution as we need to comply with the company's online guidelines? Yes. So I'll give a little insight into how I do the business online. I think there's gradients. And I would say the first thing is to realize you have a lot of connections on social media right now. Like if you have an account, you probably have 100 or 200 connections. They're just there. So that's a list of people to talk to, a list of people to reconnect with. It's the same as you would do it, you know, I'm going to say old school, even though like this is still a way we do things, but the same with as you would meet people in person, it's the same on social media. Just go to social media and connect. And don't be weird. Do the same thing you would do if you ran into somebody in the supermarket, right? Just say, hey, I was thinking, like, hey, it's so good to see you. You know, you can say, hey, I just saw your post. How are you? Or you can just say, hey, I was going through my Facebook list, like kind of cleaning up my friends list and came across your name. It's been forever. How are you? That's one way you can build your business online. It's with your current connections. And a lot of you probably aren't going there, or you're getting in your head saying, well, that person's not interested, or I haven't talked to them in forever. Doesn't matter. You're connected on social media. That's enough to start the conversation. And just genuinely saying like, oh, you popped up on my social media. It's been forever. How are you? Right? That's all we're doing. This business is about building relationship. The person with the most conversations wins. So that's kind of phase one, is who do you currently know? Now that's going to take some time to work through that. Next phase is what I call action marketing. Okay, so that is going out, and so we're not even talking about posting yet. I'll come back to the question about what do you post that's compliant, but this is without even having to post. Go to groups. What I love about Facebook is there's groups that are already pre-created. Like social media has done the work for us. You need to just look at it as business rather than the social aspect. And you need to say, okay, for my business, what are the types of people? Who are the types of people I'm interested in? If you're just interested in product sales, maybe you're going to groups that are, you know, for athletes or people struggling with certain issues or whatever. If you're looking for business, maybe you're going to, you know, groups where people are talking about personal development and authors that talk about personal development. And you're going, maybe you love gardening, so you're going to gardening groups. Like you want to go places where you're excited, where you can add value, and where you're already finding people that you have a common thread to start a conversation with. Where you can say, I saw your post in the group today. I loved it. When did you get into gardening? Right? Don't complicate this. It's so simple. I call that action marketing. And you go and you friend those people. You add them as a friend, or if it's on another platform, a follower, whatever the lingo. And then you message them and you turn it into a private conversation where you start to build relationship. And then eventually, like the simple system says, talk to people. Then eventually you're going to ask them the question about ASEA, if they're open. And if they are, you're going to send them a tool. Social media is not complicated. We get so into our heads, well, I don't know about this and I don't know about that. Just stop overthinking it. This is without you having even posted anything, okay? What I would say is a good thing to do then is think about what you're going to post. So post information that, again, is attractive, that maybe people that are gardeners would like. Post about your own garden. People that are into personal development, post about personal development. Post quotes from the book you're reading. Post about these things so that when people go, well, who is Danielle that's reaching out to me, and they go to your profile, because everyone stalks your profile, right? They go and look. They're going to go, wow, I like what she's talking about. Wow, we have commonality, right? You're posting to show this aspect of yourself to those people. Is this making sense? I'm getting some head nods. Okay. And then the last piece is the attraction marketing piece. And this is what the question was about. Well, what do I post about and how do I be compliant? The truth is, you want to create curiosity. You don't want to just post about ASEA, because you'll feel like a commercial. People want to get on you on social media, right? They don't want to be sold to on social media. But you can talk about what you love. So let's say you do 15 posts 10 of them should be the value, like I've been talking about. 4 of them, maybe you strategically have ASEA in the background, or you're wearing an ASEA hat or an ASEA shirt, or you take a shot of ASEA, or you rub some gel on, or whatever. You're not selling it, you're just kind of showing your use, or it's like kind of just like in the periphery, okay? And then that's 4 posts. And then 1 post is just direct. It's like, look, I love this stuff. I think you'd love it too. I believe that we should have a conversation about this. Cellular health is where it's at. Like, you can just be super direct, but you're not going to be direct in every post. That's 1 out of 15 posts. Does that make sense? And to be compliant, just don't make a medical claim. Don't show wound photos, right? Show what the company allows us to say. And talk about interrupting the breakdown. This is great language. Talk about living younger, longer. Talk about a biohack. Talk about the power of cellular health. And if you don't say the words ASEA, and you don't say the words Renew 28, or you don't say the words of, Redox Mind and Redox Mood, you also have more leeway, because then you're not tying it direct to the company. So you could use a word like I have a particular associate of mine on my downline that calls it the elixir of the gods. Okay, so whenever they talk about it on social media, they refer to it as the elixir of the gods. And so no one knows what that is. Nobody can go Google it. Nobody knows. They're like, if you want to know what it is, reach out, right? So they've created curiosity and intrigue, and they're not in trouble with compliance for anything they say, because no one knows they're talking about ASEA. Okay, so don't stress yourself out, but that's something to do. All right, more questions came in. Have you ever felt giving up prospecting when you face many rejections? Yes. 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 There are days, and you will have these days, and I think 100 of us on here, if somebody says they don't, they're lying. Okay? There are days when you're like, why am I even doing this? Like, people can be so rude. So rude. I mean, I have had some of the nastiest things said to me. And I'm like, I deserve better than this, Or I've had months where nobody says yes to me. I'm talking to people and it's no. I'm like, good Lord. But think about a deck of cards. Like, pretend you had 52 cards in a deck, right? That's how many there are. And you're looking for the ace of spades. That's your leader. Well, guys, how many times do you have to flick the deck to get it? And it might be the 52nd card. And what if you gave up on card 50? The secret to this business, Swan, is never get off the ride. It's never quit. Quitting's not going to get you there any faster, first of all. And when you stop, if you stop, it's done. But if you stay consistent, you're going to get better. And this is the key, and this is where people fall down, because it's personal development. You have to get better. Your skills have to get better. I'm now much better at inviting. I'm much better getting people onto a 3-way call or a webinar. I used to have no-shows all the time. Now, people don't no-show me because I've learned the skill of being super duper clear about the value of my time, that person's time. I've established the gap of this person's here and they want to get here, and I have the answer. So they want me, right? It's not me trying to pull them up here. It's a very different energy. I'm holding the space of saying, I have what you need. I've established that you have trouble with your knees, that you've done all these other options, and I have an option you've never considered, and I've helped people with knee issues. So let's find 5 minutes to talk. And they're like, Danielle's got what I need, right? Because I established that gap. So if you're getting a lot of no's, work on sales skills. Don't be scared of that, okay? Just work on establishing the gap is really the sales skill. It's figuring out, where is somebody today? What have they tried? Where are they trying to get? And can I help them get there? And then position yourself as the solution, saying, I have the system, I have the answer. Rather than feeling needy and oh my God, but you have to try this. People are gonna run away from you. So hopefully that helps. But yes, 100%. I've thought of quitting even since I hit diamond. Okay? Like, these days happen. Never quit on a bad day. All right? Never quit on a bad day. Promise yourself right now that you will never, ever quit on a bad day. Stay on the ride a day longer. It will ebb and flow. There's a trajectory. When you start your business, it's like, whee! It's totally fun. There's the energy and excitement of new beginnings. You get easy yeses, usually. It's exciting. And then there is a plummet. Okay? How many have been there? You're like, oh yeah, Danielle, there's a woo! And then this is where most people quit in network marketing. Most people quit because they had an up and then it started to go down and they freaked out. And they said, this isn't for me, it doesn't work, blah, blah, blah. But the truth is, that's when they have to learn a bunch of lessons. And once you learn those lessons, it starts to go up again. And then it goes up and down, up and down, up and down, but always in the up direction. Does that make sense? So just watch out for that. I had a mentor that told me that's called the pit of despair. You end in the pit of despair after your excitement, and nobody can get, like, it hits people at different times. It's hit some of my team members 2 years in. They had a 2-year just woo, and then all of a sudden it started to go down, and they're freaking out. And I said, it's normal. It's normal. It just happened for you later, right? And then, you know, it goes from there. So just don't quit. All right, my main obstacle is fear, meeting people to explain and present a SIA, always finding myself not prepared enough. Any suggestion? Yes. So write down the things that people ask you. Write down the common objections. Something I did my whole first year, every Saturday, I would put objections in a cup that I would get. It costs too much, it's salt water, my doctor said no, but all the stuff we hear, right? Because you hear the same things. Put it in a cup, and then I would pull out the objection, and I would on the spot have to answer it. So I practiced in private, okay? And I did this with a group of people that were also, you know, dealing with the same objections. So you guys could do that with your teams or with one another, cross-line, and just practice handling the objection. So you're not caught off guard. You have to prepare yourself, right? You got to be able to then deliver it. As far as how to present a SIA, you should not be presenting a SIA. If you're talking, it should be establishing the gap, but not ever explaining a SIA. You use a tool for that. You use a video or a webinar, or you show pictures, or you rub gel on them, but you're not explaining. Maybe have a couple sentences. So what I say is, have you ever cut yourself and wondered how the body knows to repair that? And most people say, I've never thought about it. I'm like, yeah, when cells are damaged, a call for help goes out. As we get older, the call for help is weaker, and so we don't repair as fast. Have you noticed that? Yeah, I've noticed that. ASEA figured out how we can amplify the call again. So now we can repair and detect damage faster like we did when we were a kid. Picture, picture, picture. That's it. Okay? So I don't get into the details, and you should not either. All right? Hopefully that helped. It's 15 posts per week. It's whatever consistency you want. It's just out of every 15 posts. Some people do 15 posts in a day because they're doing stories and they're doing all sorts of stuff. It could be 15 posts in a week, 15 posts in 2 weeks, 15 posts in 5 days, whatever. It's just the ratio should be 10-4-1. How do you feel being rejected every day? How do you console yourself? I stopped caring. So I don't look at it as a personal rejection, would be my answer, because it's not about me. I have learned and I've realized, and it took me a long time to realize, the no that I'm getting is not about my value. It's not about my offer. It's not about Danielle as an individual or a person or my worth. The no is about that person. That person is on their own journey. That person is on their own journey with their health, their finances, their own view of the world. It's not up to me to convince them to do anything. My role is, hey, I have a gift. Let me share it with you. And they're either going to be interested or not. And if they're not, great. They're not the person I'm looking for. I don't spend time there because I know there are people out there that are looking. I'm going to be the genie for them. I'm going to be the inflection point in their life. If that person doesn't want me to be the inflection point, their loss, not my loss. Make sense? They're missing out. You're not missing out. So it's a different dynamic, but that's the pivot you need to make. And that changes everything. I know there's no free lunch. We need to work hard and smart and be a SIA business, but until now, I still could not see my path, the comp plan clearly in my future SIA advancement. How? What best approach should I use for my upline? How should I approach my upline? Honestly, I teach the fast forward. So the comp plan is a little confusing. Like, it's like learning a new language. Once you learn it, you're like, oh, that makes sense. But this is how I teach my team, for what it's worth to everybody. I say, get a crown, first thing out of the gate. I want you to get 5 customers and 2 associates, and it makes like a crown, okay? So 5 people trying the product, 2 business partners. If you do that, you're gonna earn a fast forward if you do it in 2 weeks. And then the next thing I want you to do is do another fast forward. If you just do fast forward after fast forward after fast forward after fast forward, and you teach your team to go for a fast forward, it's a 2-week thing. It makes sense. They earn money. They earn free product. They're excited. That's all the comp plan is. It's learning to refer people and then having other people that refer people, and that's how it goes. So the rest of it will make sense in time, and the company has great comp plan videos. I think discoverredoxtraining.com has it, but the truth is, I coached a team member of mine to double diamond. He still doesn't understand the comp plan. He's like, some of this is still a mystery to me, Danielle. But I was there to kind of coach him as his business started to pick up. I was like, okay, look at this, watch this, and your upline will help you if your business starts to pick up, but it's pretty straightforward at the beginning. Why do I prefer standing on a virtual presentation? Because my energy is better. When I'm sitting, my energy is not as good. This is a trick for even when I reach out to people on social media. I listen to music. I do something that gets my energy really, really high. So I'm in that space of, I can be the genie for someone. And then I go reach out when my energy's high. Just a trick. Thank you for your time. So I think that's all the questions. I maybe went a little long, sorry.
Good. We can even extend until 2 hours.
I'm happy to answer more questions if you guys want. I have 10 more minutes. So if there are questions.
Not a question, feedback from some participants privately. She asked me to invite you for the next session to teach how to sponsor young people.
Yeah, I think, I don't know that I've solved that riddle. It's not like I have a bunch of 20-year-olds or anything in my business, but you attract who you are. So I would focus on attracting people that are like you, and then it gets out. The message gets out to people. But I think you're best suited to help who you are. So working on that, it would be, I don't know, as a 20-year-old, I don't know that I'd want to follow a 60-year-old into business. I'd probably be more interested in following another 20-year-old or something. I don't know. You guys are very welcome. I hope this was helpful, and I hope everybody is starting the fast forward. Like, go push the button. Push the button. Push the button. Am I still doing face-to-face meetings? No. So interestingly, let's continue my story. So I ended up at the end of 2021, started dating a guy that I had been really good friends with when I lived in Florida. And so I moved back to Florida, but to a different location. And so now I live in a national forest. It is gorgeous. I love nature. So again, one of my dreams was to be able to live wherever I wanted. I'm not a city person. I'm just not. I like to be out in the woods. I like to be out in nature. And we live in the middle of a forest. It is 40 minutes to the grocery store. I'm not close to people. So I am not in a situation that I can really network and do the in-person stuff. There are a few neighbors that I've, have started on SIA, and actually 2 of them are coming to convention. Here's what I did. I just got to share this. So I wanted to video, you guys know the strength test where you can like rub Renew on somebody's neck, and if you push down on them, like they're stronger. If you try and push up, they're stronger. If you don't know, in the VIP group, there's a video about this with Jerry White. But anyway, I wanted to video this for social media. My thought was, I need a short video that I can put up on social media that creates curiosity. Like, what are people rubbing on their neck? And so I asked 5 of my neighbors to come over so that I could video them. I said nothing else. I said, I need to do a demo and I need people, and would you be willing to be my demo? And they were like, yeah, sure. So I did it, and I did it with the first person. So I showed the first person like what to do, and everybody else was watching. And then I had him turn around and do it to the next neighbor. And then she turned around and did it to the next neighbor. So, all 5 of them had that happen. And at the end of it, they were like, well, what is that stuff, Danielle? And I was like, oh, guys, I wasn't like coming to present anything to you, don't worry about it. And 2 of them were like, no, like I really want to know what it is. And I said, I'll send you information, right? I did not explain. I said, I'll send you info, text me. And so I sent info. And one of them signed up with an entrepreneur pack and said, I want to do the business. And she's now coming to convention with her husband. That happened. Another one that didn't even that day tell me they were interested started looking at my social media profile and did their own, they went down a rabbit hole of stuff I've posted. And a week later said, Danielle, I've been researching that stuff. I've watched all your videos. I want it, and I think I want to join you in business. And I was like, okay. So that's something simple. I mean, literally, I didn't even have the agenda of sharing ASEA with them. I was after my own agenda of needing a video, and the product did what the product does, which caught the curiosity, and then I just, nurtured them. One, intentionally. The other, the way my social media is set up intentionally that someone could do that. So anyway, another challenge, if you guys want to fast forward, easy way to talk to a lot of people is ask them if they will help you. People love to help. So you can have a little party. So for what that's worth. The chat has more coming in, so I just want to see. Appreciate your time. I appreciate all of you. These look like just all a bunch of thank yous. Yes, all of you are welcome. My Facebook is just my name. It's just Danielle Matthews. You can follow me over there. The same with Instagram. It's just Danielle Matthews with an underscore. But yeah, you can check me out. Hopefully that stuff's helpful to you. All right. Well, it's late for you all, so I will let you go to bed. Have a good evening. I'll start my day. This was a good way to start my day. So thank you for inviting me, letting me spend time with you. This was a pleasure. And are any of you going to be at convention? Because I'd love to get a photo with you. It's an easy thing also for social media. One of the things that's really cool about this business is the global community that we all create. So please find me if you're coming, and we can do a live video together on Facebook. We can take pictures. We can do all sorts of stuff. So glad to see a couple of you will be there. Good.